Welcome to the city of Venice and to the conversation that we are going to have today in San Niccolò dei Mendicoli, which is one of the most representative places in the pilot area of the Horizon Europe Bauhaus of the Sea sales project. The project is meant to provide climate-neutral solutions for the citizens living in the coastal area of Europe, and is made of several activities which are named drops. And so today we are going to focus on one of these drops, the one related to all the citizens living in the coastal area, and therefore we have named this drop Blue Senior drop. But before going ahead, I would like to introduce Paola Mar, which is councillor of the city of Venice, and she's in charge for heritage, university, toponymy, and promotion of the territory. And it is the political contact person for the Horizon Europe Bauhaus of the Sea project.
Good morning, Fabio, and thank you for this opportunity to discuss the challenge of the aging population in Venice. The city of Venice feels privileged to participate in this relevant European consortium. The president of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, when she visited Venice in May for La Biennale, mentioned the BOSS project as a flagship initiative for the European Union. Venice is indeed the perfect place to apply the new European Bauhaus concept. Thanks to this project, for the area where we are right now, San Basilio and Santa Marta, we will imagine, plan and build together a sustainable and inclusive future for is beautiful for your eyes, minds and soul.
Thank you, Paola, for your introduction. And today we are going to discuss this interesting topic, the Blue Seniors living in Venice, which are also representative of Blue Seniors living in the coastal region of Europe. First of all, I would like to say that living in a coastal region is an opportunity. There are recent studies that underlines how living in blue areas can be an advantage for preventing degenerative illnesses like Alzheimer or Parkinson. But there are challenges to face. And so I would like to discuss with you these challenges.
Thank you, Fabio. Let me start with a general overview about the situation of the seniors in Venice, which may be representative of other European coastal cities. Within the historic center of Venice and its surrounding island, there are over 24,000 individuals aged 65 and above, comprising approximately 1/3 of the total population in the lagoon. Among them, nearly 10,000 live alone, resulting in about 40% of the elderly population. In this context, we are facing several challenges. The historic center in Venice is characterized by inexorable decrease in the resident population. A significant portion of the population is made up of elderly people who often live alone because the new generation have moved to an island. Moving outdoors in Venice to access public services could represent a challenge because of the need to cross bridges and get aboard on the public transportation, like Vaporetto. Getting out of old Venetian houses could be a problem due to the lack of lift or other supporting technologies. These challenges could bring additional issues related to the social relationship that are necessary for a healthy and activity life. In fact, chances are that under these premises, social inclusion and the promotion of an effective dialogue between different communities, local citizens, workers, local businesses, students, and tourists, could become harder. Another big challenge the city is facing is linked to the over-tourism phenomenon, which is Venice is among the top 10 cities in Italy for GDP produced, thanks to the tourist attraction and the port activities. Even if the tourism in Venice is one of the main economic resources, it also represents a big cost to the community, and in particular, the community of seniors, in terms of impoverishment of the social relationship and economic fabric, especially in Venice Historic Center. With the Bauhaus of the Sea sale project, we are working to find sustainable solution to these issues. And for doing that, in Venice, we are involving the main local stakeholders, including Ca' Foscari University and the EUAV University, the Port Authority of Venice, Comune or district, and the local association, which have an important role in connecting with the citizens living on the island.
Thank you, Paola, for giving this detailed description of the challenges for citizens, for seniors that live in Venice. And as we said, they are really representative of other situations in European coastal region. And as a matter of fact, what we plan to do in our project is to take care of these challenges, starting from social inclusion and starting from the lack of connection, which is both physical and social. And what we are going to do is to experiment with solution in this area, which is a very complex area. It is, of course, you are aware of the fact that we are on the western side of the city in a location where we have different types of building, industrial archaeology that have been converted to university site. Then we have the port area, and all of this is mixed with the traditional Venetian fabric. So this is a situation that, in spite of the fact that some activities are changing, are under heavy transformation, there are still barriers, fences, walls. This represents a problem for connection. And so this is something that is physical, and that it has a result, a behavioral barrier. It makes it introduces a behavioral barrier between the citizens. What we plan to do is to try to reconnect this area from a physical point of view, trying to improve the accessibility of spaces, of public spaces, but also to experiment with digital tools that permit to support citizens, to help them to reconnect from a social point of view, and even to support them from for their everyday practical needs. For doing this, we are proposing a methodology based on a set of steps, starting from the identification of the seniors' need, and then to the elaboration of several conceptual ideas that we'll consider, we'll compare, and then at the end we'll select what could be the best idea to carry out, to implement. And so the final plan is to have a final prototype that will be delivered to the seniors living in Venice.
So I believe that an important issue to take in account for the development of these activities targeted to the seniors is the role of local association. The city of Venice is characterized by the presence of association. that collaborate with the Venice Comune to support seniors in different ways, providing services or opportunities for improving their social and cultural life. Some of them have a specific focus on seniors and provide meeting places or visiting opportunities. For example, a very popular initiative supported by the Venice Comune is Sambra the Palace, which has raised the interest of hundreds of Venetian seniors. They are accompanied in groups to visit the most famous collection of the city and given the opportunity to interact with art experts. And then in these neighborhood spaces, there are some social gardens, spaces specifically dedicated to urban gardening. They are run directly by local residents, mainly by the elder community, giving them the opportunity to solidify their relationship with the territory. Other activities have an important role activating intergenerational dialogue. For example, rowing association are very popular in Venice and attract younger and older people who have opportunity to meet each other. Moreover, the historic city center and the Lagoon Island host 43 associations working closely with the senior citizen. This is a system that constitutes a crucial element of our social fabric. Among them, 19 operate in the public spaces, happily provided by the Venice Comune.
Thank you, Paola, because you have underlined a very important issue, that of local association. And in our vision, local associations that are named Ocean Ambassadors in the language of the project will act as a bridge between the researcher of the Bauhaus of the Seaside project and the communities that live in this area, starting from the senior community. Because one of the key words of this project is co-design, and we plan to involve seniors in the co-design of the activity, starting from the investigation of their needs and running through their intervention in the conceptual design phase, and then to the evaluation. So it's very important. But I would like to stress out that the senior community is not the only community that we want to involve, because we aim also to activate an intergenerational dialogue. And in particular, we think about involving the community of students that study in this area. And so, and an additional ingredients for this recipe is the fact that some of the students are locals, so they have family relationship with the seniors. And so I think this is an additional value for permitting to understand more the seniors' need, getting in touch with them, and receiving a more accurate feedback. So this is a value that we plan to maintain for all the project.
Speaking about the seniors, I would like to underline that there are an important community to preserve in the historical city center. But they should be seen only a fragile community and a target of social services, because they also have a huge potential. In fact, they retain the memory of the place and its relationship with the lagoon. Usually, they are the heirs of family of fishermen working in this area of Venetian Island. So they can share precious memories of the past experience that can contribute to overaging the lagoon narrative. Others have witnessed the transformation of this area into industrial zone. Many of them active persons who can be ambassador of the Venetian spirit for attracting the new citizen to settle on the island and contribute to creating a lagoon literacy.
Paola, I completely agree with you. Seniors has a special role in this respect, especially for the new citizens which have come to Venice in very recent year, because now we have MOSE. It is a system of mobile gates which is very important for saving Venice and its inhabitants from high water. But at the same time, MOSE is something that has changed the perception of tides and has changed the relationship between the man and the sea. So senior may give a great contribution on this respect, and that is the reason why we are envisioning for them a role that goes beyond the activities of the drop, which is specifically related to them. And as a matter of fact, we plan to involve them also in other activities like the ones related to the regenerative menus drop, because we are thinking to involve them as co-designers of the field trips for guiding people, for guiding even tourists to the lagoon and making them aware of the ecological relationship and permitting other people to be aware of how the lagoon was considered in the past by fishermen, as you said, because many of them were fishermen. And so in this respect, they have a great importance for rebuilding the memory of the places. Paola, we are coming to the end of this conversation. I would like to stress the fact that these drops are seeds for the future, and like drops are expected to generate ripples, we expect that the activities that we are doing in this pilot will generate a good practice that could be applied in other parts of the city of Venice, or could be applied in other coastal region of Europe. And for this reason, I believe that the collaboration between all the stakeholders that take part to the project, starting from the city of Venice, is very important for granting a future to these activities.
I think that you are right. I totally agree with you, and I want to speak with the European friends. And let me conclude by saying that the city of Venice will fully support the realization of the Blue Seniors job activities. This is a unique opportunity to engage with local senior communities for a sustainable and socially fair transition. As a matter of fact, these activities will be provide evidence for sustainable solution that can have a positive impact for the daily life of the seniors, as well as new ideas that will fill the city social policies and the deployment of social initiatives. Venice, as one of the lighthouse demonstrator of the project, will showcase how a co-design process with architecture, design, sustainability, ecology, and culture, and its core, can deliver highly innovation solution to address societal challenges and the territorial level. In this context, we will share our experience and exchanges best practice, not only with the BOSS project partner located in the different European regions and aquatic system, but also beyond the project consortium with European cities through our membership of the Eurocities network and our active participation in the thematic partnership on sustainable tourism of the urban agenda for the EU.
Thank you, Paola, for your commitment.
Fabio.
The project and the commitment of the City of Venice, I think, is a great premise for a successful outcome of the project.
Thank you, Fabio.